Good afternoon. Hey, y'all. My name is Taylor Luke, and I'm here with the Greenhouse Season 4 Midseason podcast. As of last episode, the first day of the game has completely been released on YouTube. The next episode was accidentally released at midnight last night, but it will now actually release at its normal time of 7 p.m. But before then, we have an incredible and inspiring a motivational podcast about just exactly what has gone on so far to help, orient ourselves, see who's doing well, see who's flopping, and to see who was robbed, etc. If you have questions as we go live, which would be iconic if we got live questions, just comment below wherever you happen to be watching, and we'll address it. But yeah, it is a panel of 3 today. 2 players joining me back from the draft podcast. Ooh, sorry, a little bedhead for y'all this morning. From season 1, we have Madi. Hey, Madi.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm not great. It's finals right now for me, which may or may not be visible by everything that's happening on my screen right now. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Just, chilling. Lazy Sunday.
Exactly. All right, now let's pull in our other panelists from season 3 of the Greenhouse. Shane. Hi, Shane.
Hey.
What's up? Any updates from you?
I just went to the Taylor Swift concert, so I'm feeling very much so in the 1% right now. Living my
Great. How was it?
It was amazing. We got Wonderland, so we're winning. I mean,
Okay,
Maddie got that 5,000 cuts and clean, so whatever.
About to say, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's
you really
my
won.
show yet.
Well, someone has to win. Whatever. So here we are at the season 4 mid-season podcast. We are at the end of day 1 of the game, which is typically the length of an entire season. So I don't know. I guess we could start with how are we feeling about day 1 as a whole? Let's start with just big picture reactions to this buffoonery. We'll start with Shane.
The season's amazing. It is by far the most entertaining and exciting season. Oh my gosh, every single time it drops, I'm there within the first 30 seconds. I love this cast so much. Like, they're amazing. First episode, you were like, oh, everyone came to play.
And they stick with it for sure.
Yeah.
Maddie, what's your big picture thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is probably one of the best casts out of all 4 seasons. Like, I really think season 4 stomps. Like, they are playing hardball.
They are jumping on the girls. They really are. Ooh, a comment from Valencia. Hey, loving the season as a newbie viewer. We're happy to have you. Welcome. We're very proud of the show. Yes, it took her a minute to understand everything, but she is loving it. Yeah, definitely. It's a complex game, but you get the rhythm as you go along. Thank you for sticking around long enough to get the hang of it. So yeah, I could not be happier with this season. I just really think it's a strong cast. Everyone really did their homework beforehand, and you can tell. And everyone's just kind of willing to do what's best for them. And I think another thing that I hope we talk about soon is I think this cast is really good at kind of doing favors for everyone.
Yep.
In a way that makes things really twisted very quickly. I don't know, I'm obsessed. But yeah, also one thing, both of you played 1-day versions of this game. Can you talk a little bit about what you think adding time to this does for the players? And I don't know, any differences you see in seeing this more elongated format compared to what you had to go through? Maddie?
Yeah, I think having the second day allows you to have more time to navigate conversations and you don't feel as rushed. I don't want to say you feel less stressed, but I think you're given more time to maybe strategize, and you could have the time to sit and think about what your next move is. I don't know if everyone's doing that right now, but I think you have the time to do so. And I mean, I think it's harder to keep up like lies long term if you have to think about it and keep up with it for more than just this single day. So I think it adds a new dynamic having a second day of play, and I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot more breathing room for the game. I feel like the outcomes feel more natural, at least for me, just because like everyone is able to have every conversation that they need to have. From an editing perspective, I prefer it, even though it's more footage. Like it's easier to find things that are relevant to the ultimate decision. So I don't know. I love it as a producer. I plan to stick with it. What about you, Shane? What do you think?
Yeah, I love it as well. It gives the really good players more time to have a more fulfilled, complete game so they could spend a lot of time socializing and come up with more complicated plans, as well as have more conversations, rope a lot of more people in. But it also gives the more entertaining kind of wild card players, for our pleasure, a lot more time to spiral and a lot more time to just get in their heads, which as we will see, creates a lot of chaos and a lot of entertainment. So it's a lot of fun.
It's so perfect.
Yeah. And it gives people like the opportunity that are like maybe get a curveball situation to plan a little bit better to get themselves out of a situation that may not be more obvious. So really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like because we're not as pressed for time, I'm able to do more challenges that take a minute. Like, for example, that Candyland challenge took forever to do, but we have the time for it. And I could get more experimental with things like Monopoly and stuff that might accidentally be longer than I expect on a one-day game and like completely tank the schedule. But that wasn't the case. In fact, it made things faster, which is what I was hoping for. But yeah, super happy with the 2-day format. As far as how we discussed the season so far, I guess we could just go kind of round by round on this and get general reactions. So yeah, round one, we see the iconic Jessica go out first for her second time. I don't know. Where do we want to start with the round one discussion? What are the headlines there?
Okay, before we go in, I do want to emphasize that when we're talking about these people, we are talking about them as players and how they handle the game, not them on a personal level. Just goes without saying, but just in case, because I'm going to be hypercritical on one person's game, and I don't want that to be like this weird thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a lot of feelings about one player's game.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, definitely a great disclaimer. Like, I am personally friends with every single person who has played any of my games. Like, I think the world of each and every one of you. You're all incredible people. I would not invite you if I didn't think you were cool and iconic. So any critiques are strictly game critiques and reflect nothing on you outside of that specific vacuum of the situation.
Absolutely.
So, I will echo that too. With that being said, what are the headlines from round one for you, Shane?
That was when I knew that this cast was ready to play. Like, I don't think I could have put Jessica up or voted her out. Like, I don't think I would have had the capability to do that. Like, that was such a savage move. And they pulled it off. Like, and then lucky for Seth and Brock that they got in the greenhouse, because I know that they had a huge target on their back immediately and they pulled it together. But then they spent the entire round looking like kings and queens, sitting in a bed for, I don't know, 2 hours, just like, oh yeah, come in, spill your guts in front of me, dance like the clowns and jesters you are in front of us royalty. I was like, this is
wild. No, and that's not an exaggeration. They were literally saying like, y'all should be bringing us grapes.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy.
It was I could not believe my eyes.
I was glued to the screen the entire time.
So good. No, and like the way they were all seated like on the bed too, like it just very much looked like a tribunal.
But it's also like it's also week one and they're in power. Like, yeah, I will sit here and dance for you. What do you I will bring you grapes. I have no problem doing that.
No, literally. And I feel so bad for Jessica because just enough things happened horribly for her. One being they picked probably the worst seed hunt that they could have, which specifically gave people a reason to try to get her nominated.
Yeah.
She lied about it.
Which I don't get why at
I
all.
don't get
Yeah.
why at all. There's no reason to lie about that.
At all.
At
And which we saw
truly
because
at all.
Eva and John Michael threw her under the bus the first second that they got.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that Dylan kind of out of nowhere throwing her under the bus, like
Yeah.
his ass
Great.
off out of nowhere. I still
Great
like.
move.
No, it's a great move. Like, get yourself through round one. But I don't know.
I was like, where did this come from? Like it just came out of thin air.
Well, I think it was one of those things where everyone was thinking it, but no one was like vocalizing it. And he was like, I mean, it gets me through a round and it gets everyone else through a round. I'll just say it. Now, I don't think it was necessarily right, but there are no rules. There's nothing fair about it. Sorry, Jessica. I think you're amazing.
It's an unfair game. It
Yeah.
is. No, I don't know. It was iconic and he got away with it. I think another big headline is the creation of the major alliance group, which was largely led by Brock, which I was impressed by him, honestly, of getting the red team together, the purple team together, and the black team together, which I don't know. It's a lot more fluid now, but I still think the ramifications of that group are holding generally. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I definitely see like Ross is still very tight with Kim and they're tight with Dylan. Dylan is a sketchy player. He is trying to play all sides. I mean, he is playing all sides, but I think they still have some trust in him. Kelby is still pretty squarely in that group. I mean, there's some remnants of that major alliance that are still together for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's just social inertia that as soon as like you're in that first group, it's kind of hard to really overly flip the script. But I don't know. We've still seen many members of that group go home, which we'll get to. Yeah, I think those were the major highlights from round one. I can't remember anything else right now. Plenty happened. Don't worry, plenty happened. But those were, huh?
Ross with the rogue vote.
Ross with the rogue vote. Yeah, I forgot about that storyline. He was the only one to vote against Kim at that first elimination, which I don't know. It's so funny to see what happens with the first set of nominees in the greenhouse, because since that elimination, both Kim and Ava had very different trajectories. Like Ava more or less joined the majority alliance that Kim was already in, but I feel like Kim made the deep relationships necessary. So I don't know. It's easy to see those two people who had similar starts be in such different positions now. And yeah, so let's move on to the iconic round two that really set the tone.
Props.
They bullied Jessica in round one, but round two is when they really showed us that they can cut.
Yeah.
So truly, I don't even know. Like, I guess we could just start with the Brock of it all. Like, truly his king stature transformed into him feeling so comfortable that he was happy to go with the being voluntold to be on the block and was fully napping during the auction and vote prep.
Yeah.
What's our immediate reactions to his approach here?
Well, first of all, we have to blame Seth in this as well.
Yes.
I do not understand what there's 13 people left. Why would you put your number one on the block? Like, that makes literally no sense at all for this situation, this exact situation.
Yeah, it is a common strategy in the greenhouse for some reason to throw up someone from another side just cause to not make people panic, I guess. But truly, it does not make sense to me at all. Especially because the only reason it would make sense is season 2, round 1, when the Flytrap girls were all nominated and then bought the Flytrap. But now the Flytrap is much more expensive and you're not going to see that kind of cooperation or that kind of dangerous cooperation from people on the block, at least this early in the game. So maybe you want to split it up just to like give nominees incentive not to work together deeper into the game. But early in the game, there's no reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I even get it for week 1 when Kim went up. That it's week 1, you don't really know where people are. I almost get it for that one. Later on, when Kelby volunteers, if someone's going to volunteer, by all means, go on the block.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yeah, that's
this week when it's your best friend that rode together with you. That literally makes no sense.
Right. Just make it Kelby again. Like,
Right.
Why does it have to be Brock, who is also a shield for you, Seth, who has been in the greenhouse twice now and is still labeled as one of the late girlies. Like, you want to keep every single person possible who people will take out before you. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think everyone else played this round perfectly. This made sense for every single person in the house. Mind Ross, which he put up a fight for a long time. And when he saw that the final wave had finally crashed, he was like, I'll be on the right side of the numbers. That's okay. Gavin, first of all, Victoria. Amazing play by Victoria.
She ate it
we
up.
stand Victoria in this household.
We do.
For making those connections, having the plan, having the sensory and the foresight to see where this was going, and talking to each person and getting them all on board. And then talking to the very middle right person to talk to, Gavin, and making it make sense for him. I think a lot of people, when they go to have conversations, they try to make it make sense for like themselves.
Yes.
You need to make it make sense for the other person.
Yes.
And Victoria did that impeccably well. So good job, Victoria.
No, genuinely, it was one of the best rounds from the bottom that I've seen yet.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Straight up. Other than arguably the round that Claire bought the fly trap in season 1, but I would argue she wasn't even on the bottom then. Like truly, like so often, people outside the majority group just don't see the structure and don't correctly identify the new group that should be formed. But I feel like they really just kind of got on it. And I think part of that was seeing the good instincts in pulling in Gavin. I think Gavin was able to guide that a good bit.
Yep.
Because he was able to like pretty much identify like, hey, these are the votes you can actually get, without so much saying that.
Yep.
So I think he should get a lot of credit here.
Yep.
I think that
because it also takes like a lot of bravery to flip as well.
No, absolutely.
Like Gavin gets a lot of credit as well, like you said. Like to have it explained to him, and a lot of people want to play comfortable and say, well, I already have a final 7. I can get to the final 7. This was an amazing move for Gavin. Just switching it, and then telling all of his allies, this is where I think it's going. I'm not telling you that I'm the one that's doing it, even though a couple people caught on, but great move for Gavin as well. And he kept all of his relationships close.
Intact. Absolutely. And lost like one of the least important members of his alliance. Like even though even though Seth and Brock technically formed the alliance, like in reality, they were not actually running it. They were just the ones who happened to have nominating power.
Exactly.
And had the ability to move first. But I think in general, most people were happy to toss them out.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, Ross really had the power in that alliance from the jump. Like, yes, everyone else had the nominating power, but Ross was sitting comfortably eating his gumbo. And as Seth was about to go make some random move, he was like, no, stop. Come back. Let's talk about this. Let's do this instead. And Seth was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm impressed. I do think some people should have probably kept Brock in the game. I do think like a Ross or a Kelby, because I think he was always going to be targeted before them. But I think that they were both very smart to see that they did not have the votes for that. So I think they were absolutely correct to vote the way they did. I don't know how Caleb fell out of the vote. I don't know.
Yeah, I think outside of probably Caleb, I think this round really emphasized like the caliber that everyone was playing at. Like everyone played this round, I think, perfectly for themselves. Like Ross putting up a huge fight, like I don't want Brock to go because I don't think that was great for his game. But then understanding when to flip. Victoria making a perfect pitch, Gavin making the perfect flip. Everyone played this round perfectly, and it just so happens that Brock fell out.
Yeah, definitely. Another moment that I want to talk about is Ava's confessional, where she's like, I have pledged allegiance to the flag of Seth and Brock, and we are going to be the final 3. And then truly, even in the footage, the very next thing is Gavin walking in and saying, hey, we're voting out Brock. And it was like, okay.
Ava is like my favorite character. Like, I love her so much. I don't understand how she does it. She's so charismatic, but she makes the right decision, but always like guesses wrong. I have no idea. She's so funny. I
No,
love her.
her level of iconery has international implications. Like, I don't know, like she's just always like very intense in her confessional and like has such a specific point of view. But like, so she's ready to commit fully, but
Yes.
like we'll flip in a second too, but then commit fully to that too. Like she's
So
always,
unserious.
no matter what, she's full throttle in the direction that she's pointed. And I'm obsessed.
If there's one Ava fan, it's Ava. But if there's two Ava fans, it's Ava and Shane. So much. She's so funny.
What are your thoughts, Madi?
Man, I think when I was like taking notes on that episode, I was like, oh, she doesn't know that there's a flip. And then I was like, oh, Gavin came in like the Kool-Aid man, just busting and was like, hey, get him out. And she's like, okay.
And she was so sure that Victoria was the one that voted out Kim. And I was like, wait, what? Where are you getting this from? She's great.
She's great. Yeah, I do want to start getting into where I think Victoria failed in the game. Which honestly we can transition to round 3 at this point.
Perfect.
I think we're good.
Yep.
So round 3 was Victoria's time to go. Honestly, this round to me is narratively the least coherent. Like, I just feel like everybody was panicking post Brock and it just like landed where it landed, honestly. So I think that I mean, yeah, let's just start with Victoria. She's the ultimate boot of the 3rd round, even though I think that she was the main organizer of the non-main alliance. And I don't think that that's why she was out. I don't think that they spotted that threat level in her. But I do think it's largely because she pretty much only talked to those outside people. I think she kept her conversations necessity only. And as a result, she was just very expendable to everyone else. That's my read. What do y'all think?
I think that was probably the reason that she got put up. This was also when our favorite chaotic goddess, Ava, was in the greenhouse doing Ava things. And Gavin was also there. And they had this whole plan. And then Ava goes rogue and doesn't put up the person that she's supposed to put up. Lands on Victoria. And who knows with that. And I think Victoria, this is strike 1 for the person that I have a problem with in the game. Because how they all didn't get in a room and they had the majority to keep Victoria still baffles me, because this is a longer day. And this was the week that it went from the sun to the night. So we know this round had to take like 2 hours.
Yeah, this round took a
while. Not get in a room to save Victoria. That I don't get.
No, yeah, I do want to get there. I think that, well, Madi, first let's stick with the nomination debacle for now. Madi, what did you think as far as this planning went with nominations and how Ava went rogue, which caused Gavin to go rogue?
I want to be in Ava's head just for like 5 minutes and just try to see what's going on in there. Because they came straight, if I'm not mistaken, at least in the episode, they came straight from Emma's room talking about, here's our nominations, this is what we're doing, 2 nominations, and completely just does not do what she said she's going to do. And I'm like, what?
Literally, that might as well have been real time. Like, consider that a live feed. They agreed on a plan, went to the living room, and she did something different.
And then she kept saying, well, like when they were planning, she was like, let's just throw some people up there and see what happens. And I'm like, I mean, I guess, but like, what's the plan here? What's your strategy? Like, do we have any coherent, like long-term strategy going on? Or we're just literally just like, fuck it. Whatever happens.
Huh?
Who else was she with? She was with Gavin.
She was with Gavin and John Michael.
Oh, yeah. So I got that she didn't want to let John Michael in on the plan, because if Gavin's number 1, I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah, so there was a lot of conflict. So like John Michael was pitching that the three of them form a new alliance and each of them pull in one person, which was the whole thing that kind of never went anywhere. Ava wanted to go after Anthony, but John Michael's closest to Anthony, so he kept pushing back on that.
Yeah.
And they still landed on Anthony as the target, but then Anthony won immunity, which caused most of the kerfuffle. Like she didn't know what to do once that he won immunity, even though they specifically talked about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot what my ultimate point was going to be there, but dang it. I think one thing that's good to talk about now is John Michael and Anthony's positioning in the game. I think as early as round 2, they were both pegged as huge targets in the game, but they're weirdly not being targeted / kind of pulling a Meredith and just winning when necessary.
Right.
Do you think they deserve the target they have? What do we think, Maddie?
I don't see it. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, every time someone mentions that, oh, he's like Anthony's just such this dangerous player, and I'm like, but what has he done? And we'll get to that later in the most recent round with one of his decisions. But like, what has he done to prove that he's a dangerous player? Besides, he had a lot of seeds and he bought Uproot, so he doesn't have seeds anymore. So where is his influence? Like, what is he doing?
No, exactly. And like doing well in challenges is fine, but like I don't know. I think a few different things about challenges in the greenhouse is like, one, the green thumb literally exists, so you could take away half the wins of the week. You could take away one of the most important wins of the week. So like you could always block someone from winning. Not enough people, I think, consider that. And like also, I don't know. I just think that the challenges are largely crapshoots, honestly, by design. And like it's supposed to be like a lot of people getting power within the week. So like I don't think that there's any one person who's more likely to win, if I'm honest. Just because like you just need to be in the top 3 of the group. And the game is like trivia questions from the 2000s. Like I don't know. But like there's only so much. Like the games are too varied to like be a challenge threat in one way. Like it's either social or like some random ass trivia or like literally memorize these things from Operation. Like it's like I don't know, they're purposefully not gameable.
Right.
To me anyway. I don't know. What do you think, Shane? Anything else?
No, like I don't see why they have a target on the back, except if they're just not in the majority and anyone will come up with an excuse. Now, I don't think that John Michael was smart in round 2 to eliminate people from the couch. I think that was just a bad social move. Like, what is the point of that if it's the end of the round, unless it's the end of the game? Yeah, that just put him on the outside a little bit more. But other than that, like, no, they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I were to run that challenge again, I'd give people a seed for answering from the audience.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Then it would make sense.
Yeah, that was something. I think it might have been John Michael who like bid 10 for like the Adele question, and he's just like straight on the couch. I'm like, what? But what's the purpose here? Why are you flexing your knowledge?
That mistake put him at the bottom. So
yeah,
it did serve a purpose. It just wasn't a positive one.
Yeah, definitely. Valencia, I agree with you. I think John Michael has one of the biggest question marks as far as his placement in the game right now, because like he is on the bottom, but he has these random ass relationships. Like Kim gave him a bunch of seeds. We'll get there. And like Kelby buddies with him a lot. So I don't know. Who knows with the new day what people feel after the rest? Like maybe they're higher up on John Michael. We'll see.
He's found a way to get himself out of trouble every single round. I don't know how he keeps doing it, but he's got some tenacity. I love John Michael too.
No, it is honestly mind-blowing because he wasn't nominated this week, third round. He was
nominated week 2 and I think last round maybe.
Yeah, he was nominated week 2 when Brock went home. And then he was nominated the round that he got seeds from Kim, which was Monopoly. Yeah, because he wasn't nominated Ava's round. So yeah, as far as round 3 goes, who was ultimately up? Dylan. I think we should talk about Dylan's time on the block. and then ultimately where the votes landed. If you're Dylan and Gavin's telling you, hey, I panicked, you were just one of the names that came up and I didn't want to flip the script on the greenhouse the same way Ava did. What's your response to that?
Dylan's better than me because I would have flown off a handle. I would have been like, no. But Dylan's like went along with the story that Gavin pitched, which worked out for him. So he did that very, very well. Like when I got told that, I was like, stop messing around with me because that's not true.
Yeah. In my head, if you are nominating me, you are okay with me going home. That is the only thing I need to hear. Like, even as a pawn, I don't care. Like, you are okay with me no longer being in the game.
Yeah, and Dylan played it really, really well, and he is now because of that. In my opinion, Dylan should have gone home that round.
Yes.
But everyone rallied around him and against Victoria, and that started with him staying calm and collected on the block. So good job, Dylan, on that.
No, that's absolutely what it was, because like he just like showed his loyalty badge or whatever, and everyone was like, okay, then we will keep supporting you.
He really does have loyalty badges.
Yeah. What do you think, Madi?
Yeah, I also think that if Anthony, Ruby, John Michael, like if they would have just gotten in a room and realized like the other majority alliance is still very much intact, if not like solid, but still have these loose strings tying them together, they could have fully voted Dylan out and gotten rid of one of their numbers, and they just didn't see it.
I don't even want to give them that much credit because it doesn't even have to do with the majority. Victoria's a solid number for you, and you have the votes to keep her.
Yes.
But the majority doesn't even matter. You don't even have to think that far in advance or have that thought. Just save your person. And they had more than enough votes to do it. I don't get it.
Like round one, y'all are all left out of the loop. All of y'all did not know a thing that was going on round one. Y'all thought y'all were even going up round one, and then they were just like, oh, you're not. So they're like, okay, we're cool then. Then round two, they're targeting John Michael, and it's Victoria who's the big, like, in my opinion, one of the first players who keeps like pushing in the other direction. Mm-hmm. And then here you have one of the people who's effectively in the same position as Brock. Like, why are we not following through, y'all? Like, I really don't get it, especially because on paper they have a much closer relationship with Victoria. So I don't know. I think it's really just the way Dylan kept approaching it, like saying, no, we definitely have the numbers. So like, it was honestly the reverse Brock. Like Ross flipped because he thought, okay, I'm not going to win this vote anyway. So I think he put them in the same mindset. But just like, I don't like, just count, y'all. I think another just count, y'all. Like, I think another thing that's important here, I think looking at Caleb's elimination on the horizon, I think Caleb should be looking more into the fact that he was completely left out of the vote by this group who's saying that he's part of them. So like, this is something he tries to do next round when he's on the block, but like maybe this is his opportunity to say, no, y'all, actually there's a big group. I'm positive I'm on the bottom of it. So why don't we organize this way?
Which Caleb, because they told him, oh, we decided and we didn't have time to tell you, which that should be a huge red flag.
Yes.
Like, because Caleb, they told everyone but you.
Yes.
It would be a different thing if it was like close or if it was 2 votes or 3 votes. It was 1. And so immediately flip, just get it over with.
Yeah.
Like peel the Band-Aid.
That should be an immediate red flag if you're the 1 vote and you go and talk to somebody and they're like, we just didn't have time to tell you. You're full of shit. There is some form of time.
Yeah. One, it's impossible. You had the time, 100% you had the time to do it. Yeah. 2, even if it is true, then that means you are the bottom of the priority to inform.
Right.
They care the least about throwing you off.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, come on, y'all. Come on.
I just think, and Caleb, I think this is stuff that he would address on a second playthrough, because even when Victoria got put on the block, his first thing was to say, well, I thought I was going on the block. And it's like, that's not really what you want to tell someone who's on the block. And make them like say, oh, it should have been me, but it wasn't. I'm so lucky. And it's like, oh my God. I don't know how Victoria didn't say anything. I would have been like, shut up.
Wait, yes, that's another thing. Caleb was straight up told this week he was supposed to be nominated.
Right.
Yeah.
And the gang was just like rolling with them. What, y'all? Okay. Wait, what was my other comment? And another thing, as far as like people just like abandoning Victoria completely, like Victoria had one message the whole time, like Ruby and I both have to stay. So Ruby, we are going to get you the uproot and then we'll get the votes for me. Like I don't know. It's tough for me to make that jump, that logical jump of like, oh, this is my ally who trusts me so much that they're willing to let me buy uproot so that we could save us both. But she wants me to be more secure to, honestly, I'm okay with her going home. Like,
yeah, like I want to give Ruby some grace. Like,
yeah, definitely
2% grace, low fat grace, because she wanted to get in with the other. I think she just was in the dark and she didn't know where the majority was. Actually, we know that's true because she still doesn't think that there's a big alliance, which
we can talk about.
Think that there's a big alliance. You're not in the alliance. Fact. So I think she was just trying to play the middle, which she voted 1-1, which why? I don't think it was the right move for her, but I think she was just a little in the dark.
I do have a question for you on that. Like you famously voted 1-1.
I did, yes.
In season 3. Is there ever a reason to do that?
Yes, if you think that you can weaponize that going forward. But I don't think Ruby had a plan to do that. Like, I think maybe that's a reason. Or like Ross did, if Ross had a bank vote and he voted 1-1 to throw someone else under the bus. Right. But I don't think that's the game that Ruby's playing. She's playing an honest game as she voted out her number 1 ally.
Yeah.
And in that conversation, when Dylan is telling her that he basically tells her he thinks that it could split, but at the moment it was like, what, 5-3?
Yeah.
I'm Ruby and I'm hearing this and I just got off the block from an ally who I should trust. I'd be like, wait a minute. I can either split this and make Gavin show his cards because in that moment it would be smart for him to oust Dylan because he put him up. But also there's a potential that someone else doesn't use their banked vote on the other side and I can save my person. So I don't know why she ever agreed to do 1-1 in that moment. Instead of,
I don't know why. I don't know why she offered that. I don't know why she told Dylan. I have no idea. But it did work in that she kind of got in with more people and she separated herself from that. I don't know if it was a good call or not, but I think she found a way to rebound nicely from it.
No, I agree. She does rebound nicely. And I feel like I do think Ruby is actively trying to play the middle, but I do think that there's a little bit of newbie mistakes from her because you can absolutely play the middle and do favors for everybody, but ultimately you need to actively keep in the people who you are closest to, especially in this game because like often it's the people in the middle who get accidentally eliminated because they don't have anybody taking a strong stance for them. I think that's what happens to Caleb next round. And I don't know. I just think in general, it's smart to play the field in the greenhouse, but I think truly, in my opinion, just from these 4 seasons, the best way to play it is to just really be very side oriented, honestly. Like you need to actively drain the other side's seeds. You need to actively protect the people who are the most loyal to you. Because by having the most people in your corner, you'll have the most people sticking their necks out for you. You'll have a group of people with seeds you can rely on and all of that kind of thing. So I think especially for this Ruby strategy of like, ooh, let me sacrifice some of my people so I ingratiate myself with these people. Like you've already ingratiated yourself with your allies. Like you're giving yourself a harder game to play by doing that.
I think if you're going to play the middle, you actually have to have hard, strong individual relationships with the other people. Like Kim plays the middle impeccably well.
Incredibly well.
Like when she gave her seeds, well, in round 4. We'll wait till we get to round 4, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess any other comments on Victoria's elimination round 3?
Robbed.
Yeah.
Robbed.
Robbed.
Victoria robbed. I do think Victoria got the quietest edit of the season.
She did, because round 1, I was like, man, I don't know what Victoria's doing. She's just kind of like here. She's not doing much. And then round 2, she really stepped up, and I was like, oh, I was sleeping.
Oh, she made me eat my words.
Yeah,
No.
for real.
No, she's really good at just organizing people. I think she's a very talented player, but I think that if she ever plays again, she needs to play the field more.
Yeah.
I think that was her big mistake. So let's keep moving to round 4, the iconic Monopoly Week, which was my favorite format so far. First, let's just talk about the Monopoly game. What did we think of it?
This is the best challenge I've ever seen, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not putting on. I texted you immediately when I saw it, and I was like, "This is genius! Like, absolutely."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved setting it up. It was originally more complicated, actually. Like, I wanted to have places where people could put their money and it would get interest, like if you return to the room. I thought about putting stuff in jail, like people could discover if they went to jail. So who knows? If I ever run it again, I might get more creative with it. Or honestly,
did anyone ever go to jail?
No one went to jail.
I can't. Okay, so that was my thing. Like, if you could pay for a round of jail in advance, and you could be like, in round 2, I want to put this person in jail round 5. Like, so no one actually thinks that you did it when it happened, especially since round 5 was the one where most people were trying to make their final strike.
Right.
That would have been the thing to do it.
Yeah, in my opinion, the move is like the 3 of us go to a room and we're like, okay, thank God the sunflower is in here. So we're definitely going to get it. I'm going to put 10 seeds on here right now. And like we can develop a schedule within us, like starting round 3, like one of us is in here at a time and just sending people to jail so they can't bid on it is what I want to see people do.
Yeah.
Ross, this is where Ross's arc starts again, because he took a fumble in round 2 when he lost Brock. And then round 3, we heard him say, I need to get in the greenhouse next round and reset. And he's playing out of this universe and crazy game. Because at first round, just like you said, he said, I'm going to put some money in there right now just to make sure everyone sees I'm going for this. And
right.
With the plan, if you put in, I will not nominate you. And he gets people to start putting in round 1. And then everyone just does that for 6 rounds. Like, Ross is playing everyone else so well. That was a great plan by him. Good job, Ross.
Absolutely. That's the best way to play these type of like virtually election challenges. Like we've done it with rock, paper, scissors season 1. We did it with that first challenge in season 2. The people who do well in those challenges are the ones who just outright ask for them, because people don't want to like usurp you to your face. So I think really just like you need to blitz those kinds of challenges, move quickly, so that way people are too scared to even do something else, because if they lose, like they outright made a move against you. Like that is the strategy for these things. But also I think one reason I like the Monopoly game specifically is because all of these powers are divided. So I think it's possible for multiple people to do that.
Yeah, and you don't see what everyone else is talking to. So you really have to rely on what you've been doing socially for 3 hours, or not 3 hours, 3 rounds previously, because we saw some rooms where someone would go in either by themselves, which why did you do that? Because this is more than just winning things. This is also a time to talk strategy one-on-one with other people that you haven't, or you would go in a room with one other person that you haven't talked to and you just sit there silently. It's like you're wasting such great time to socialize.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like, why are you not putting money on things? Like, Caleb didn't bet on anything, and I'm still mad about it because
no, seriously. No, if he just went to the immunity room and put all his money on immunity, he would have survived.
Like,
he would have survived the round.
It's literally fake money. Like, you don't get the money when you leave. It was paper. Y'all, like printer paper.
Like, do something. Like, I don't know. Like, at least pitch in, you know? Like, make it at least hard for them to morally put you up. Like, you know, like if you're doing nothing, it's just like there's no reason for them not to
run you over. Like,
run you over. Like if you're not helping anyone, then you're not helping. Like, okay.
and
bye.
I think that truly emphasized where his game went wrong, as we'll see when he gets eliminated, because no one was willing to stick up for him. Like, this was the round where everyone was like, Ross just wanted Sunflower and he just wanted people to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he didn't really care who went up. But so when people were coming in and everyone was saving another person, saying, well, I'm working really closely with this person, which Ross got so much intel from that. And unfortunately, like, Caleb didn't have anyone in his corner outside of Gavin, but Gavin's already moved on by now. So especially last round when you saw that you were left out, how you don't go into overdrive, how you don't bid on anything, I don't get this.
Yeah. Though, like, I see why it was so easy for him to get targeted, because just essentially everyone else was spoken for. I am still confused how Anthony and John Michael get out of this round without a target.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it.
I think John Michael's playing, like, talking to everyone individually and just has good vibes about him. I have no idea how to explain it, because Dylan, which I don't know what happened between John Michael and Dylan, because they are like two cats in a corner, like going at it every single round, and then nothing happens at the end of the night. Like, they're still both there. I don't know how they're still doing it. Another thing this round is I think people are greatly underestimating the power of the pollinator. Like, like when I saw it, like, my eyes lit up, because especially having the like, the fly trap is great, because that's just another reason no one should be fly trapping you. But to uproot 2 people in one round, that means you can probably get away with 3 seeds, because no one's going to outbid you by uproot if they're not on the block. So you're basically bidding free money on a round of life. Right. And no one was thinking that.
No, absolutely. And I think, like, especially for players at the bottom,
Caleb
pretty much means that you can control one of the single digit rounds. Like, if you have a group of 3 and you get 2 uproots, then, like, pretty much at that stage of the game, there's only like 4 votes per round. Like, you can basically just ensure that you are going to control the vote for the round. Or in order for the other group to control it, they need to spend everything.
Yep.
On 2 uproots.
And you drain their seeds. And
it's easier to, because you only need to drain their seeds on one of them.
Right.
So anyway.
Good for Kim for, at least, even though she didn't think about it, she had the mentality of, well, I'm not going to let this go to waste. And look at her now, thriving.
No, exactly. Kim was the reverse of Caleb this round. She got the immunity that Caleb should have gotten. And she was one of the only people to get multiple items, because she was just like, I mean, I have money, I'm gonna bid.
Right.
I'm gonna do something. And yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of interesting decision making with this Monopoly round. Do y'all have any specific powers you think you would go for?
Oh, pollinator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested in the pollinator. I think I would probably try to pull something similar to Ross and try to go for one of the greenhouse powers in this particular round, because I think this is a good round to, like, you're very much past your beginning stages of, I don't know who to put up. Like, you should have formed your relationships by now, and you should be looking forward to making moves to get yourself into the end game. So I think this is one of those rounds where being in the greenhouse will be super beneficial for you long term and getting what your agenda should be going forward.
Yeah. Which is why I think Ross made a perfect move, especially with everyone coming to him and telling him, this is who I'm with. Ross got out scot-free, and he did essentially 10 favors. Because he didn't put up everyone's closest ally, and he used this round to basically say, I'm good with everyone, right? And no one should be coming up in the early rounds. This is a perfect round for Ross.
And he's still one of the only people who have not been nominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Iconic.
That's crazy. And I think Ava catches on to that when this is next round, but when she starts her whole campaign for the fly trap, I think she can see that, but I don't think she had. We'll wait till we get there.
We'll get there. One more thing I want to talk about this round that I think we probably should have talked about round 3 as well is Seth's recovery from the Brock elimination. Honestly, I just want to hear y'all's takes before I give mine.
I don't even think he was doing it on purpose. I think he was being genuine when he was like really upset that Brock left. And I think he thought that he was going out. So he was just doing like a pity party thing.
Mhm.
I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but that's what got him off the block. Good for Seth. Like, now Seth is hardcore in the depths, in the dark, has no idea what's going on at all. Like when he's going around asking for the little clue tokens.
Like, is no one like catching on to this? Like, does no one care? It's like,
no, I just don't think anyone cares. Because
nobody cares.
everyone was strategizing, and then Seth would barge in, "What items do you have?" And everyone would just be like, "Rope. Here you go, dude. Like, go for it. Go have fun."
Yeah.
And I think Seth created such a weird threat level, and now he's got no threat level, and everyone's just letting him go through. And I think he's doing it. Well, I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but like it's working.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Madi?
Yeah, I think like round 3, there's no reason for most logical players not to have put him up. Like, you just had your biggest ally go home. He should have been like defensive. Like, you should assume that he's going to be defensive moving forward and that you can't trust him. So why not just put him on the block, see what happens? But they didn't. And I was like, how did you pull this off?
Mhm.
Like, it was honestly impressive. I don't think he did it on purpose, like Shane was saying, but it was impressive that he just kind of like let everyone else kind of just do whatever. And he did his own thing, got him a seed and said, okay, I'm just here now.
I think he's just a good guy because he seemed to be like realistic about it. He was like, that was a really good move to get my best friend out. It makes sense. And I think people really took that honesty and that vulnerability and that it really did feel genuine. So I think he's just a good guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that there is a level of just emotional difficulty of voting someone out. And I think that posturing, purposeful or not, made people go like, oh, we just voted out his best friend. Like, do we really want to get him next? Like, I think that's a big part of it. I think that he became such an obvious target that it kind of horseshoed back around to like, just keep him in. He's fine. Like, he's been virtually neutralized. I think that he's doing really well about forming individual relationships. Like, I think he's really harvested that Ava relationship. I think his Ruby relationship came out of nowhere. And I don't know. I think he had the right read. Like, I think part of why I'm so disconnected in the game is because I've had power and haven't had real conversations with people. So now I think he's focusing more on getting favors from people, giving favors to people, and forming individual relationships. So I think it was a good, like, good change for him. I really do.
I think that's the benefit of like the 2-day game, because it gives a player like Seth enough time to actually have those conversations and make those connections with other people. Whereas if it was shorter, he probably goes right there and he doesn't form this relationship with Ruby, but he has enough time to do it. And he's a very social player. So he thrives with more time.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I think another oh, wait, what were you going to say, Madi?
I was going to say something else that about this season, that these players are not afraid to ask the pointed questions, point blank. Like, Seth straight up asked Ruby, are you close with Anthony? And she says, I am, but I'm moving away from that. And he straight up says, well, that's good, because I don't think I could work with you if you're still close with Anthony. I was like, that's a bold statement to just tell somebody, dude.
And it worked. Like, that would, I would never say that I would never say that, but that just goes to show how different like people can be, because Seth said it and it worked. Whereas in my mind, I'm like, if I ever said that, no one would ever believe this. And it's like kind of crazy to see.
Yeah.
This cast is great because they're all so accepting, but they're all willing to make moves.
Yeah, definitely.
To move themselves further.
Definitely. That is another thing that I wanted to bring up was Anthony and Seth's rivalry here.
Okay.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Shane?
Anthony's the one that, I think he's playing the worst game by far.
Let's say it. Let's say
not even close. Like, getting rid of Victoria, terrible move, hated it. Then what was it? This whole thing with Seth, I don't really understand. And then when Seth is on the block, you save him against Ava, which I don't really get. Which we'll get to that in round 5, actually. Let's wait till round 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, round 4, we're still on Caleb's elimination. I think we should talk more about the way Caleb ultimately left the game. I think that Caleb did make the correct step to try to throw the big alliance under the bus. I do think it was too late, but also I just don't get why they didn't listen to him, honestly.
Yeah.
How much of this do we put on Anthony and Caleb? I'm sorry, Anthony and Ruby for kind of, in my opinion, making the wrong call here. Do y'all think they made the wrong call? What do we think, Madi?
I think they made the wrong call because they should have scooped Caleb up. Caleb openly admitted that he was the only one that was left out of the vote. And then this round, you see that he's upset. You see that he's on his way out. You see that everyone turned his back against him. This is the time to scoop him up as a number. Like, I understand, especially if he feels like he doesn't have any connections with them. This is when he's the most vulnerable. Like, go talk to him. Go help. Like, use him. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's the same logic as Seth. Like,
yeah,
pick up Seth as an ally, so now pick up Caleb as an ally. He's clearly been left out of the plan several times, so now he's like, no, officially, like, I just need to restart. Like, I don't know. To me, that's the perfect time to flip on like a Kelby, who is part of the group,
right?
Volunteered safely to go on the block, much like a Brock, the same mistake as Brock, even.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just felt bad that they didn't listen to him. I honestly felt bad that he was nominated. I thought it did not make sense that he was nominated over like an Anthony and a John Michael. But yeah, I don't know. It all just informs.
This is also like one of the first rounds we see where people are actively out, like trying to stop someone from getting uproot. But it's kind of like, you buy uproot, okay, kudos to you, you got off the block, great, we're moving forward. They were like, no, you must stay on the block because you must go home this week.
Yeah, that part I didn't like. That was the thing where I was like, I get it, it's a game, but it's weird that this is happening right now for Caleb, and y'all are like hard pressed about getting him. Like, for rounds we've said we're just going to be fair, and now he is, and now you're actively trying to get him out. Like, I get it, it's a game, but it just kind of felt like you weren't being honest in we're getting out because you don't serve a purpose to my game. I felt like if you're going to do that, just tell him that, because poor Caleb is sitting there wondering why he's getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And he even admits, like, I wasn't playing a good game. He's commented that multiple times. Whereas if you were just honest with him and say, I just haven't been working with you, instead of saying, oh my gosh, we feel like you're such a huge threat for the jury. So now he's completely out of sorts, doesn't know what's wrong. He's probably gone through weeks of being confused. Whereas if you were just honest in the first place and said, you just do not fit into my plans, especially since he's a juror, people, just be honest.
Yeah, just
come on.
I don't know. Madi, what were you going to say?
No, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, there's a certain point where it's beneficial to lie, but if you know someone is going out and that person is on the jury, what purpose does it serve to lie to them?
No, I agree. Yeah, no, and they all kept saying like, oh, I feel bad for him. I feel so sad. But like, no, it just didn't match up to me, and it just felt weird, especially because like he was up against John Michael, who everybody has been saying they were happy to get out for 3 rounds now. So like, why do we have to outbid Caleb when we could just say the same as we had several rounds now, like just whichever of them doesn't win uproot, we take out the other one.
Right.
You know, like that would be much more consistent, and it would make more sense if that was the approach. I just don't get why Caleb had to go. I think again it was because no one spoke up for him. That
is truly what I don't think it was anything malicious like that.
I don't think so either.
I think it was just that Caleb wasn't in the loop.
Yeah. And I don't know, for whatever reason, as soon as it stuck, like, oh no, it has to be this person, like it just kind of piled from there.
But is this also the round that we see John Michael corner Kim to give him seeds? It's this round?
Yes, this is the same one. And John Michael's like, please just give me the seeds. I really think it, because he correctly, in my opinion, thinks that it should be him going home.
Yeah.
And Kim gives him the seeds necessary to save himself.
Yeah, I think that was a clutch move for John Michael. Like, he continuously said, you don't have to give them to me, but he was asking her in a way where she felt pressured that if she didn't, it would cause this huge rift going forward. Like, he was super genuine about it, but like, he went about it in the right way because he got all of those seeds from Kim.
And Kim makes a great social play here too, because she gave away her seeds, which seeds are trump to everything else in this game. But that immediately built trust with John Michael. And now John Michael is basically in Kim's pocket the entire time. And all it took was seeds where she doesn't really need them because she's expertly playing the middle, where she does have all of these genuine connections. And other people are willing to use seeds for her, which we've seen. And she's got bank votes. So this was a great play for Kim to get someone outside the giant majority on her side. That's pretty much going to be subservient to whatever she wants.
No, definitely. And I think to go back to discussing things Caleb could have done to avoid this outcome, like I genuinely think this is a season of favors. And like, I don't know many, if any of those like concrete things that Caleb did to try to form those bonds. Like you see Ruby in the Scrabble challenge, giving a bunch of people letters.
Oh yeah, that was a great move from her.
Yeah, great move from her. You see people just happy to toss seeds in the direction of someone who needs them, especially if it doesn't hurt the impact that they want from the week. And just those little things really build up. Like at the end of the day, if someone has to choose between someone who has done something for them and someone who hasn't, like the decision makes itself.
Right.
So I think that's another part of it too. But yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate. I also think Caleb kind of drew the short end of the stick too, because he was never in the relevant room during the challenge as well.
For Monopoly.
Yeah, for Monopoly, though also neither was John Michael and Anthony. But whatever. I don't know. It just blows my mind. I think it's because Ruby talked up for them, maybe. Like, so maybe it's a testament to how well Ruby was playing, but I don't know. Caleb, you were robbed, in my opinion. You should have gotten 9th.
Oh my God.
So yeah, any other comments about round 4 before we keep moving?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Same. Let's move on to round 5. Iconic. We played spoons as a challenge. Kelby didn't know that a joker is different from a jack. Legend.
That's very Kelby.
That's very Kelby. And ultimately, we see Anthony snag immunity again. We see the same greenhouse, the same 3 members of the greenhouse.
Right?
Ross, Ruby, and Dylan. And yeah, Ross is Sunflower yet again. What do we think about these standings?
I'm annoyed because this is strike 2 for Anthony. Why would you take immunity when flowers give you immunity? Dude, and the round before, there's a very specific cameo or confessional where Anthony goes, I know I'm on the bottom. So you have the awareness and you say, I need to go for the greenhouse. Yes, we are back on track to getting where you need to go. And then he has the opportunity to take Sunflower, which no one wants to put up 2 people right now. It's very clear no one wants to do it. Look at last round where Ross was panicking the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you take immunity. Why? Dude, take Flower. Take some initiative. Have some gusto. Go for the power.
No, truly, the more on the bottom you are, the more power you need to grab to just try to get new inroads, to try to shake things up, get some information. Like,
what did Ava go for? What did Ava pick first?
Ava picked,
I don't
know.
Tulip stolen. Because
yeah, definitely got
stolen the most. Yeah, I think I don't remember, but it was definitely stolen from her, and so then she picked the seeds.
Yeah.
No, Ross had Tulip, and Dylan stole Tulip from Ross, forcing Ross to have Sunflower as the last choice.
Gotcha. I don't know what Ava did then.
I think she picked Rose first, no?
Maybe Ruby stole Rose from her, and then she took
the 2 seeds.
Yeah, I guess. Regardless, she was stolen from
Yeah.
those seeds, which I think was a
a
bad
whole new script.
I don't know. I think Ava also needed to go for power too. I don't know. To me, if it's the last round of the night, especially, I just like want to get the easiest way to make sure that I'm not going home. For me, what do you think?
So 4 of the 5 people are working together that are in this greenhouse scenario, and they all, in some way, shape, or form, have said they wanted to target Anthony. For me, I was watching it and I was like, literally all y'all have to do is not pick 2 seeds and wait till it gets to the last person, Dylan, and he steals whatever Anthony has, and Anthony is forced to take 2 seeds, the only option that does not give you immunity. Yes. And you put him up. Like, that should have been the play. But they let him grab immunity and no one stole it from him. And I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that he took immunity in the first place. Like Shane was saying, take a flower, especially because you're on the bottom and you need to do something. But they didn't do anything to like pigeonhole him into not having immunity either.
Well, I think it just came down to who was at the end, because like Dylan seems like the type of person that wants power for power's sake, because he seems like a very like challenge motivated finalist where he wants to hang his coat on I won a lot of challenges. Ross, I think it just so happened that he wanted something at the end and it just fell to him, and he didn't want to like ostracize Anthony anymore. And then who else was there? Ruby just wanted Rose to get her final pitch into the greenhouse to keep going. I think that's kind of how it worked out, if I were to assume, but no, I don't like Anthony taking immunity here.
Yeah. So now it's time to start prepping for nominations. And Ross is panicking. Oh, I need a nominee. And Seth is at it again. Hey, Ross, just nominate me. And I could get a seed, and I definitely have the votes.
Oh, wait, did Seth nominate him or volunteer too?
Yes, yeah. Seth volunteered.
Oh.
Yeah, Ross had it like, to say he didn't want Sunflower again and have it back-to-back is very stressful and should put a big target on your back. He had such an easy week because both people were like, just put me up. Like, he did not have to get any blood on his hands. He's playing.
But I also think Ross is playing that's Ross's game. Everyone feels so comfortable around Ross that it's like, yeah, put me up. No one's going to send me home on your watch. Like,
right.
Like Does no one else think that Ross is running the game? I haven't figured it out. I can't tell if they see that.
No, I can't tell either. I think he just has this very calm demeanor about him that no matter what he says the plan is, you just believe it's going to work out. Like, I don't know. He has a very steadying effect on these people, in my opinion.
Which we'll see when Tornado Ava starts running around the house.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. One of the first people she said when someone was like, so who do you feel nervous about? When she starts talking about the fly trap, she says Ross. And then like she can immediately, that was one of the people everyone was like, oh no, I like him. And so she was like, I need a backpedal. Then she says, I forget who's the next name she throws.
I think it was Dylan.
I think you're right. And then again, people are like, I don't like that option. Okay, I have to backpedal again. What about Anthony? And I don't know what happened with, I think she realized she needed Anthony on board to like buy it. And so then she fell on Kim. And I was like, at this point, give up, sister. Like, you can't.
No. Okay, I am an Ava apologist.
And I have a thought too. Wait, you go first, Shane.
Ava was completely correct in this scenario. Hurricane Ava was absolutely right to go run around the house and get people on the bottom to put in for the seeds to take out someone at the top. I have such a newfound like respect for chaos or whatever. Shout out Brady, season 3, because is it chaos or are you just disrupting the status quo of the house? Because Ava wasn't wrong, and the people that are calling her crazy and chaotic are the people, Ross and Dylan, that do not want this to happen because they are running the ship right now.
Yeah.
So she is right. And she did everything that she was supposed to do. It was the right call for so many people. Ross plays a great job here in saying, I'm not participating in the seeds unless you let me have the fly trap. Good call by Ross. He's putting his foot down. Ava then asked Ross, are you going to vote to keep me? And Ross tries to dodge. And Ross says, oh, I can't vote.
Amazing.
And Ava sticks to her guns, which I love Ava for this.
I love Ava.
My safe, and Ross has to lie. Ava's one of the first people to actually make someone have to sit there and lie. And she did it again because Ross, who had like 5 seeds, had to say, oh, I only have 2. Ava was right. And Ava was saying everything correctly to every single type person. Anthony gets the bad boot this time because I think it is his fault that Ava doesn't succeed in this because he has enough seeds. He should want to do this. And everyone is just dogging on Ava when I think that she's right in this scenario.
I think that she's right. I think a couple things. One, I think, because from her perspective, this is how she's going to restructure the game with this. She has Kelby and Seth, who she has been with from round 1. She has Gavin, who has apparently sworn to God that they're together. So that's enough. So that they had, I believe those people had enough seeds on their own. Additionally, she pulls people at the bottom like an Anthony, like John Michael. She pitches to both of them. And the people left are the people who actually are on the top of the game. Like, I think you're exactly right, Shan. I think that she has a good read here. And I think that the tactic to paint her as chaotic and as a tornado was very effective in making this, honestly, plan that would work for most people in the house who should be looking for ways to restructure this stuff. I think it's a good way to make it sound crazy or like not the thing to do.
Yeah.
I think where she went wrong, though, was she didn't read into some of the relationships when she was like, I get going after Kim, especially because she has the pollinator. And I think there's a miscommunication on how people think the pollinator works.
Yeah, we clarified it eventually.
Okay.
But, I can clarify if you have questions.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, I think other people in the game were having, like, didn't understand fully how it worked. So, but I think she had the right idea of going after Kim for the reason of we get rid of the fly trap and there can't be another one. I think that's a great pitch, but I think she went to the wrong people and didn't have the read of relationships in the game for people that liked Kim and were going to fight for her. I think that is the biggest fumble.
See, I can't fault her for that because you're not going to know. You don't have a map of saying everyone's relationships. Like, and what she came up with should have made sense for 75% of the house. So it really shouldn't have mattered. But I think it's the people in the middle that were too scared to jump and really reset their game because they're in survival mode instead of being in I want to win mode.
Here's where I blame Ava. Is she and Seth went to Ruby, and Ruby said, top 5 alliance. Me.
Oh, you're right.
2 of you.
You're right.
John Michael and Kelby. Which is like that's honestly the game. That's the blueprint. That like kind of illustrates everything.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's the exact crew that you can pull this type of move off, specifically against Kim. I think that 5 is cool to get Kim out. Or maybe not, because then you have John Michael and that kind of stuff. Honestly, maybe it lands on like who's even left. Honestly, I don't know. You'd have to see, but that's your best way of doing it. Like saying, hey, no, actually, Ruby, let's go forward with that alliance. Like, let's light a torch right now and do it. Like, I feel like we haven't had enough control in this game. Like, and you know the best way we can rally together? Let's get rid of the fly trap. And now we're the majority with no more fly trap in the game going into day 2. I think that is the move. And to answer that pitch of a full-blown alliance with, actually, I think I would be more loyal to Gavin than to all 5 of you, is what I think made her expendable to people. I think it made her seem more flaky. And I think it honestly lost her the allies that she needed to pull it off.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. But that's what's so much fun about Ava.
Like, I know.
You'll have in the same round the most genius read and the perfect move, and then word vomit the wrong thing, and everyone's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
I think another thing, like if I wanted to be especially dastardly, is if I'm playing as Ava right now. I'm going to Seth, and I'm like, okay, Seth, they're not buying it. And and being like, maybe we could try to get an uproot type battle going here. I have 5 seeds already. See if they can help you outbid me. And then if they give you enough to outbid me, we're at 11.
Yeah.
And then we just need one more, and then we could buy it anyway. With these people helping us for uproot is what would have been iconic in my opinion.
Remove seeds.
That would have been an all-star move.
Huh?
Can you remove seeds if you put them down?
Well, specifically for the Venus flytrap, because it cancels everything else.
Oh,
if I have 6 on uproot, I can say, actually, I'm going to make this 12 on flytrap, and that would be legal.
Okay.
That would be iconic in my opinion. But regardless, let's talk about where this lands. So we have Ava with 5 seeds, Seth with 3, but ultimately it's Seth who outbids Ava. What do we think about Ava's move to just let Seth uproot here?
Well, she had made promises to those other 2 seeds. One was from Ruby, one was from Kelby, that these are only going to be used for Flytrap. If I cannot get the seeds to purchase Flytrap, they go back to you. So I think in that essence, they're really just 3v3, right?
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
So like if she has the 2 seeds, one she got from Ruby, one she got from Kelby, she has 3 that's her own. So it would have just been 3v3 her versus Seth.
I agree, but like if I think I'm going home, I will absolutely hang on to the seeds that people gave me. Happily, even.
I mean, I think I would too, but would that not put just a target, prolong your target to next round?
Yeah, that's true. I think this brings in Valencia's question of people asking for their seeds back and whether this has always been a thing. In general, I don't know of anyone who has held on to a seed that someone else has given them. I think pretty much in every instance, it has ultimately been returned to that person in the greenhouse. I think it's just such a visibly mean thing to do. And I think it's just such a line drawer that people just tend not to do it and tend to play fair or whatever. Hopefully one day we see the alternative.
Yeah, I think Ava was just stuck between a hard place at this one. Like if she keeps them and bids on uproot, if she gets outbid on uproot, then she like alienizes those 2 players and she goes out this round because they don't vote to keep her. Or if she gives them back, maybe she has a prayer of staying over. Who else was on the block next to her?
Kelby
again.
Kelby.
Or maybe I don't know. I think she had just seen she probably just saw the writing was on the wall at that point.
Yeah, honestly. It's like once the plan falls apart.
Yeah.
Technically they could have.
They could have. They for sure. And they should have.
I don't know. Just the thought of them starting a bidding war for uproot and then turning it into a fly trap anyway just gets me.
That would have been
amazing. So yeah, I believe that's everything that has happened so far. Are there any other highlights from the day that we want to talk about? After this, we'll talk about the remaining people. But any specific events or headlines that we missed?
I don't think so. I think everyone's playing really hard.
Yeah.
And what? There's 9 left.
9 left.
Yeah, and I think 8 of 9 people still have a path to the end.
Who doesn't? Who's that 9th?
Kelby.
Interesting. What makes you say that?
I don't think that Kelby has win equity, only because I think she can get to the end, and I think she gets to the final 2. She could, or final 3, she could very well be there. But I think Kelby's the type of person to be like, you guys can win. You guys can have fun.
I mean, she almost told people just to vote for her instead of Caleb, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean, she's a sweetheart.
She is a sweetheart. That shot of her on the ground when they're realizing that Caleb's going home kills me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess now that we are here arriving at day 2, we are moving into the second phase of the game. So the rules are updating. And yeah, we have 9 contenders in this thing. Do we want to talk about them individually or just largely like the group as a whole? What do y'all think? I'll do whatever.
I think we can go individually.
Yeah, sure. Let me see who's first alphabetically. I think Anthony.
My boy.
Let's start with Anthony. And while y'all start talking about Anthony, I'll make a list.
Okay. I think Anthony is not playing the best game right now because he's been on the bottom. To give him the benefit of the doubt, he knows he's on the bottom, and I think he's just trying to survive. What I think where he falls short here is, well, it's not even his fault. He's been just playing in survival mode, and he's had a positive reinforcement from it. He is still in the game. So I think he is going to continue to do what is working when he should switch it up and see how it's going to get him further, because what he's doing right now cannot last long term. But I think to give him the benefit of the doubt, he's thinking what he's doing is going to continue to work because it has been working for him. That's my thoughts on Anthony.
Yeah. What do we think he needs to do affirmatively at the start of day 2?
Get power. Nominate somebody. Nominate someone that is opposing him openly. Like, take the shot. Take a shot. If you're at the bottom, you can't get further on the bottom. Just take a shot.
This is what I do not like about Anthony's game, because what you just said ties perfectly in. I think that Anthony is unfortunately playing the worst game out of all 9 people left. And again, this is just me being critical of his game. It has nothing to do with him. He voted out Victoria, which I did not like at all. He then recognized that he's on the bottom. Perfect. You don't pull in Caleb. Don't like that. You say that you need to get power. You don't get power round 5 when you are in the greenhouse and you just go for immunity. You don't help Ava get the seeds to fly trap someone that's at the top because you think that she's coming for you, which I don't get that at all. I don't get that reasoning. Why would someone on the block fly trap a bystander that's not a person that put them up? I don't get that at all. And you can help her out, and you keep Ava in the game, which if you're on the bottom, you want someone like Ava who's going to draw a target and keep everyone else occupied. But since you saved her, she will never, and Ava has shown to be one of the most loyal people in the house. She is not going to go after you. Also, he then votes out Ava, which I do not like at all. And now Seth is still in the game. And Seth is the person you have actively been against for 4 rounds.
Well, Seth wasn't an option to vote for.
No, he wasn't an option, but he was an option to help either Ava get uproot or help Ava get the fly trap. But by allowing Seth to get him, and if Seth is your arch enemy in the game, he's still in the game. So what are like, all of those choices do not make sense. And like you said, I think he's just getting a positive response. So it's affirmation that what he's doing is right.
Mm-hmm.
But he's had like 4 or 5 separate opportunities to get himself from the bottom, and he doesn't do it. And he's not choosing the option to like go against that rationale. He's quite simply just doing nothing, which is the worst thing you can do in this game.
Yeah, I think that he doesn't realize how tunnel visioned he is on Seth. To the point that it's affecting his ability to read the whole game. But also I think he's missing opportunities in people like Ava. I think he saw like, oh, Ava's close to Seth. She will never work with me. And I think that's what led to his read that kept him from working with Ava.
Right.
I think it's that continued tunnel vision. And agreed, I think that one of the big lessons of this season, at least in my opinion, is to do something. Like, there's a ton of moving pieces in the greenhouse. Like, if you're not pushing a button, someone else is, and they are getting social capital out of that. So I think just the design of the greenhouse forces people, like, you have to do stuff because otherwise you're not building relationships, is what I think.
Right. Now, to play devil's advocate on one of your points about him not wanting to help Ava get Flytrap, he has been told round after round that Ava wants him gone. So, like, I can understand his point. I don't want to give money to someone to buy a loaded gun to take me out with, because he was one of her options and she has targeted him for like 3 rounds now. Yep. So I do understand that rationale. Now, once she moves to Kim and is on the Kim train, and like he's talking about this with other people and other people are affirming that it's the Kim train, I think maybe then he can pivot, but I don't think he's wrong and not wanting to give her money when he thinks he will be at the downfall of her buying Flytrap.
Yeah, I agree that he had the right gut reaction. Honestly, I do think it's a good gut read. But that also being said, I think other players throughout the season have shown flexibility in like updating their relationships throughout the game. And I think that's just an important thing to have.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. Let's see. Who's next alphabetically? Dylan. What are our thoughts about Dylan going into day 2?
I think Dylan's playing a great game. He does seem very like eye on the prize, which is good to some degree. He's got 7 seeds, so he knows the importance of seeds. We've seen a lot of people come to his aid and come to his defense and a lot of things. Him surviving over Victoria was honestly a lot of him. So good job there. The issue that I have with Dylan's game is he is so hyper-focused on JM, and he's missed 3 times. So he's going to have to start doing other things throughout the game. So if he does get to the end, he can actually say something like, if your entire objective was to get JM and you were in power 3 times and you still didn't get him, that's a huge like stain on your game. So I think he's in a great spot, and him and Gavin are 1 short move away from being the top dog. If they can get rid of Ross, they are the one on the top now. So I think he's got a great position right now.
Truly.
I think that's good read.
So I think when I was watching this last episode and I saw how many seeds Dylan has, how did he get these seeds? I was like, this is a large jump from anyone else having this many. I mean, Ross has 5, but like, I was like, I feel like this came out of nowhere. Where did you get all of these seeds, my guy?
Caleb gave him 4 on his way out.
Oh.
That's where Caleb's seeds went, because he rolled the dice too. He had a big uptick before he went out, and then he gave them all to Dylan.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Good for Dylan. I mean, because you would think that Caleb would have given some to Gavin, but Dylan got in there and got those seeds. So good job, Dylan.
I think Dylan could tell that Gavin wasn't doing too much to help him. And I think Dylan was the main person who actually couldn't have done as much without just like outwardly campaigning. Like he had the least say in Caleb going home, I think.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, honestly.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Congrats, Dylan. Gavin's next. What do we think about Gavin?
Oh, my baby boy. I love Gavin.
He's playing amazing game. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Shane?
Nothing. I think he's also in the same spot as Dylan, where he's 1 strike away. But we've actually seen Gavin say that out loud, where he knows that Ross and Kim are playing really, really good games. Gavin's playing right in the middle, just as Kim is. They're both playing everyone really well. Every single person has said, I feel the closest to, like, I feel top 3 Gavin. Yeah. Which, good for him. Gavin, I don't like Ava going there for him either.
Yeah.
Like, for the same reason, whereas he could have helped Ava buy Uproot, and she stays, she's definitely never going to come after Gavin.
Ever.
Like, never. And then, best case scenario, like, maybe Ava stays 1 more round and causes some more chaos and gets the people on top out, which clears the way for Gavin if she wants to get Ross out. But I do understand Gavin not wanting, like, he seems to have a really close bond with Ross and Kim, and he doesn't want them to go just for the social aspect. So I do understand that for him, but yeah, I don't think Seth is really doing anything for his game, whereas Ava would have. And worst case scenario, she just goes home the next round, and you get 2 people out in a row.
Yeah, I agree. My one thing I would say in defense of just letting Ava go is that I think it's the reverse Ruby here. I think that Ruby's discussion of John Michael and Anthony has continued to pair her with them, who are already kind of on the bottom, and I think effectively making it harder for her to separate herself from them, like game structure wise. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think besides, I mean, I think the only thing that Ruby could do at this moment, which I don't even think would work long term, would be to just fully commit to, because I feel like she's one step away from fully committing to the majority side, but I don't see that benefiting her. But she can't fully commit to just JM and Anthony here, because then she's on the bottom and she's out next round. So I'm not sure what she's gonna do moving forward to like get herself going. I mean, she has like some kind of inroads with Seth right now. So, but Seth has made it openly clear that she cannot stay allies with Anthony if she wants to work with him. So it's like she's going to have to choose a side and stop playing the middle if she wants to survive. Meanwhile, people like Gavin can play the middle and survive. So it's just like the reverse.
Yeah, it's difficult. The people that she needs together just will not be together, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's see who's next. John Michael. What do we think about John Michael's standing?
My other baby boy.
Such a
John
sweet
Michael
baby.
getting out of Dylan's target 3 times is like impressive. I don't know anyone else that has had their name thrown out multiple times in a row, especially in the pregame phase where any excuse to send someone home is enough. Mm-hmm. And John Michael has gotten himself off the block once with Kim by making Kim give her seeds, not making, but just straight up asking. Mm-hmm. And then he survived against Brock. And then this last round, like did Dylan have Tulip or something? Yeah, Dylan had Tulip. And he tried to get John Michael up, and Ruby was like, no. So John Michael's doing something right.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, he's doing something right, but I also think he's in that same boat of he's just surviving. Yeah. I think he needs to make a move if he wants to go long term. Like, I don't know. He's going to be an easy cut, I think, in day 2 at somewhere. And if Dylan doesn't do it, that's going to look bad on him.
A lot of these people need to get into the greenhouse and win, where I think JM has the wherewithal to understand, like, if I get a chance, I'm taking a swing. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
Though, all of that being said, I think another part of the structure of the greenhouse is how few people are voting. So, like, a lot of the times it's the minority group that honestly can whip the votes potentially to flip things around. So I think, to me, this is my advice to all future greenhouse players. If you are in survival mode, like Anthony, like Caleb, like John Michael, you need to find the other people like that and just form a group. You will get the most done if you operate as a team here.
You really will. And you have to put yourself out there. A lot of players that do really well in greenhouse are the ones that go talk to other people and just are vulnerable and put themselves out there. You can't just stay in your comfort zone or you're going to get eliminated.
Yeah. I think another difficulty for John Michael is because he started off today. The team that he started off with wasn't the best people to be initially tied to. I think it was Jessica and Ava. Jessica, who was sniped immediately, and Ava, who kind of isn't a goalpost to like latch yourself to. I think, at least at the start of the game, she's a good ally, but she won't necessarily bring you with her. Yeah. So I think that's part of it too. Like he just didn't get as strong of a first footing with everybody that I think other people did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Next up is Kelby. Shane, you already said you don't think she can win this. Maddie, what do you think?
I think I don't want to say if anyone can fit the description of floater, it's best probably fit on Kelby. But I mean, I think it's true. A lot of people like her, so I think she has the chops to make it to the end, the final three. And I think she is not in danger of being a top 4 cut because everyone knows they can beat her. Like she hasn't done anything besides have a decent social game that can win over a jury, in my opinion. What strategy has she done? What game moves has she done? Challenges, has she won anything besides week 1?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So I don't think she has anything to prove, like to bring forward in a jury. Like, here is my stats. I don't think she can. I also don't think she can win as of right now.
So there's a very clear difference that I'm glad you said it because it reminded me of it. Kim and Kelby are playing identically. Neither of them have gone into the greenhouse. Like Kelby went in once, and Kim won the game with Gavin, but then sent Gavin in.
Yeah.
They're both playing very, very good social games where everyone feels very close to them. The difference is Kelby's just nice, and Kim has her eye on the prize, and she wants to win. Not that there's anything wrong with being nice, but Kelby won't go for it. Kim will.
And Nice has won the greenhouse before.
Nice has won the greenhouse.
Multiple times.
But by people that wanted it.
That's true too. And I think it's good to compare Kim and Kelby because like they have the same stats on paper, but I agree that I think Kim has just more respect isn't the word, but like street credit, I think. And I think it's because of the kinds of favors that they're doing. I think that Kim is being seen as like solid support for the group because she's gathering all these bank votes. She's willing to hand them off to people. She's seen as someone who's giving resources, even though they're not challenge wins. While I think Kelby has been more of a slot filler. Like, okay, I'll go on the block. I know I'm not going home. And even though I think it says a lot that no one has even really talked about turning on her once that she is that pawn, I think that just from a posturing standpoint, it's easy to just be seen as what's the word? Dispensable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think like people are both drawn to them. They have very similar good social game, but I think Kelby goes just with the flow, whatever people say. Like, she doesn't have her own input, while I think Kim is putting her own input and can be seen as with like some strategy, which is where I think they do differ. I think Kim, like Shane was saying, will go for it. And she will say, she said, look, John Michael is going to trust me and don't put him up this round because X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, Kelby would just be like, sure, that's a great plan, whatever. Like, just going with whatever's said. So I think that's like the main difference, in my opinion, in the two girls' games. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's fair. Next up is Kim. I think we pretty much discussed Kim for the most part. But I don't know. I think I know you said Gavin for this, Shane, but I think Kim is the person who comes up the most as this is my closest ally.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Kim is playing by far the best social game. Like, she's not doing anything wrong. Everyone feels close to her. Like, if she gets to the end, she could easily win. Like, easily.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in a great spot. Shout out Kim.
Yeah, because I wasn't really sure if she had a great grasp on what she was doing. I couldn't tell if things were accidental or not. Like her going for the pollinator or her giving seats to John Michael. And I don't know, but later on, especially at the end of the night, she explained how those things now benefit her and how they can fit into her plans going forward. So she has the wherewithal to understand how she can use all of the things that she's garnered, all of the trust, all of the tools to go forward in the game. And that's someone that has a really good game.
Yeah,
absolutely. I have 2 more comments on that. First, I think it's very meaningful that Ava had such a strong argument to get rid of Kim, but people still did not entertain it at all. And wait, sorry, what were you just saying? Wait, I had another thing to say about Kim. Dang it. Oh, yes, I do. So again, I think it's a season of favors so far. I think that's something that Ruby has done especially effectively, but I think Kim's favors are visually so much bigger. Like she's giving people 3 seeds at a time. She's handing over 2 of her banked votes at a time. And I think that as a result, it just packs that much more of a punch.
Yeah.
And ultimately, she like gets it back. Like her votes weren't even used, but like she's just showing like, hey, I am willing to go all in.
Yeah, and even in round 3, when she had the bank votes and everyone was telling her, use your bank votes to vote out Victoria, and she even said, I don't even think I need to, because Kim is the person, was it this round that convinced Anthony to like do something to vote out Victoria? Wasn't it Kim?
Kim was the one who like solidified that's where his vote was going.
Yeah,
like,
so she knew if I can convince Anthony, I don't even have to use my bank vote. So Kim has a lot of strategy. Like when she's talking to other people, you can't tell which could be another strategy. So if she gets to the end, she's got a great case.
Yeah,
she really does.
I agree. Iconic.
So since they were not, so she has 3 banked votes essentially if they give her 2 back from this round.
Yeah, assuming that Gavin gives them back.
Right. That is power. That in itself, you can control the entire vote. It don't matter who's up there, you decide.
As long as you have access to the voting box.
Correct.
Iconic. Okay, next up on the list is Ross. We've had a lot of high praise for Ross.
He is playing such a good game. Oh my God, he's truly best player. He is not afraid to say exactly how he's feeling. He is being straight up. He's not even hiding the power that he wields. Straight up telling Ava, if I cannot control what is being done with this fly trap, I'm not giving you coins for it. Anybody else says that? Red flag. Target.
Well, he does it so well. Like the way that he words things, like even when Ava was pitching Kim, I don't remember exactly the verbiage that he used, but he said something to the effect of like, I'm not doing that no matter what happens. Yeah. But he said it in a way that heavily hinted at it, but he never openly said it. But Ava got the picture. It's the little things that Ross does and the little things that he like guides people to what he wants to happen. And it has worked 4 or 5 rounds in a row. The only time it did not work was with Brock. And Ross learned a very valuable lesson that week. And he said, if I want to control the game, I have to be driving. And ever since then, he has not let his foot off the gas, but he does it in such a good social way that Kelby and Seth are sitting there volunteering to go on the block.
Yeah.
Could not catch me doing that.
Never.
And like, people are doing it for him so he doesn't get blood on his hands 2 rounds in a row. And everyone feels good with him. Even Gavin recognizes, I want to go to the end with Ross, but if I lose to Ross, I'm not upset. And Gavin was the biggest game bot coming in.
Yeah.
So Ross being able to, build those relationships so well with people, expert at the game. He is amazing. He is running everything. Good for him.
No, it is truly so cool to watch. I think, in my opinion, Ross's biggest strength is his ability to continuously reaffirm the structure of the alliance.
Yep.
Specifically with, in my opinion, the best players in the alliance.
Yep.
The people who you would be most concerned about flipping or like realizing what's going on. And I think by doing so, it feels a lot more egalitarian than it probably is.
Yeah. And he's keeping probably the game's biggest threats around him. So Ross, Kim, Dylan, and Gavin, who I think are the game's biggest threats at this point. So they're all kind of just like pointing guns at each other, but not firing because Ross is the one that's like, guys, we're going to get to the final four together. Like you said, like it's going to be us four at the end. And any one of them should take him out.
Absolutely.
But they're like, we're okay with it. And because Ross is calling the shots, he's doing it very, very well. He's taking his social capital and really making moves with it, which I really appreciate. Like that's a good social player and someone that's doing something.
And another mark of a strong player, in my opinion, is when your conversations don't repeat themselves.
Yeah.
Like you're always making every conversation count and specific to the person you're talking to. And I think that's something he's very good at. He doesn't repeat himself. Cool deal. Next up is Ruby. Maddie, what do you think about Ruby's stance right now?
I think I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think she's in the middle and it's not good. Like people know she's in the middle and she's going to be forced to choose a side, but like choosing a side isn't going to benefit her because if she chooses Anthony and John Michael, all right, well, she's in the minority and then she's got people like, okay, well, you're going next. But if she chooses that side, the majority side, she's going to be at the dead bottom. So I'm not sure what she has to do at this point to get herself out of that situation, but I think she's in a really sticky situation that won't help her last to like, I can see her maybe getting to top 6, maybe top 5, but I don't see how she can break past that. Like, I don't see her path to the end right now.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think that Victoria, Caleb, and Ava are 3 big losses for people in Ruby's position.
Right.
And I think now, like, we are getting to the point that it's potentially irreversible unless people wake up with a new drive competitively. You know? What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I think Ruby is in the middle, but not by choice, which is not where you want to be. Whereas other people are doing it purposefully. Ruby just happens to find herself there. And one of the big reasons, unfortunately, just can be just because she won 2 greenhouses in a row. So maybe that's unintentionally affecting her mindset in the game where people are coming up to her more and like, she's like, oh, I'm playing a great game. There's no alliances. Like, but no, it's just because you've got greenhouse goggles on right now. And as soon as you don't win, especially since we're about to change formats where you can't go in there multiple times in a row, you might be in danger. So like Taylor said, like losing Victoria, then Caleb, then Ava, who are all in intentional, like the same position that she's in. Yeah. She just did not see it. And she just lost those people. One of Ruby's biggest issues is that she needs to be more decisive. Like she's in the middle. Even if joining the minority does seem like not the move, you have to choose a side eventually. Like you just have to. And I would have rather you had done it while you were in the greenhouse. If you're already going to stick your neck out for Ava and say, I will give you a seat, I will help you uproot, follow through with that. Do everything you can to make sure that she stays, especially if she says she's going to uproot not Ava or Ruby or Seth. Like Ruby, weaponize Ava.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And I think that she was on the right track trying to push that alliance that Ava accidentally torpedoed. But like, it's not too late for that. Like, I hope that it really isn't. In fact, all those people are still in the game except for Ava, the one who wasn't committed to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, you should try to bring in Seth, even though that's not going to be great with Anthony in the mix. But I don't know. Like,
that's the thing. They all have a way to get to the end. Each person left still has a way to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to, at some point, suck up the pride and say, you know what? Let's just work together. Like, if it makes sense for both of us, why not? We have to start you guys aside.
No, and that is the question. Will these people compare notes? And our last player entering day 2, Seth. Can we believe he's here?
No, he's a wild card. He's great, though, because everyone needs someone that will just leak any information. And Ross was like, do not tell him anything because he will blurb it out just because he's Seth.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reason a lot of the information is circulating is because of Seth, which is great. It's great for us.
Right.
No, Seth is perfect casting, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have Seth on 100 seasons of The Greenhouse if possible. He's just entertaining. He's funny. He's honestly, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a solid player. And just the ability to tell everyone everything will always be funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Madi, any other thoughts on Seth?
Yeah, I'm shocked that he has found a way to still stay in the game when I think there are multiple rounds where he either should have been up or they should have been able to get him out. But I mean, whose game is he hurting at the moment? Like,
no one's.
Right.
So it's like, okay, stay in. You're not hurting my game. Great, stay in. But also, I'm waiting for him to do something. Like I feel like it's a ticking time bomb. This man's going to pull some kind of something coming forward. I can feel it.
No, and that's the other thing. Like, genuinely, he has a very interesting story in the game, in my opinion. Like, he showed up late. He did the only thing that would have kept him from going out first, and just kind of vibed it out. I don't know. There's something there for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a review of the whole first day and every remaining contestant. Who is y'all's winner picks?
Ooh, Ross or Gavin? Basically, if Ross is there, I think Ross wins. But if Ross gets clipped, Gavin wins.
Interesting. What puts Gavin over like Dylan for you? I know that was the other name.
Oh, I forgot about Dylan. Ooh, he's playing a good game. Ooh, maybe it's Dylan. I don't know. It's one.
What about a Kim, who's also in
No. The difference between Kim right now is Kim hasn't actively like made the move.
I follow.
And that's kind of what's setting me apart from her. Whereas Gavin made the flip, great call. Ross is actively controlling it. And Dylan, the only hiccup I have for Dylan, because Dylan makes sure he gets himself in the greenhouse. Come hell or high water, Dylan's like, I want the power and I want the safety, which is correct. But Dylan has to get John Michael out. Like, if he doesn't get John Michael out, and that's his entire story, I don't know what he does at that point.
Fair. Madi, any thoughts from you on who's doing especially well?
Yeah, I think that's the Ross, the Gavin, the Dylan of it all are playing. I think those are your three leading men going for who's going to win. I feel like it's got to be one of those three at this point in time. I think if Kim gets in there, I think she can do some damage to those boys.
For sure.
But it just depends on who's in there. If Ross is in there, I don't see how he can't win. Like, I mean,
but
openly in the top.
Like the other thing is, if Anthony gets there and if John Michael gets there, they clearly did things right to get there, and they have a winning story too. Like, anyone in the game can still win, and that is what's the most exciting about this cast so far, because they're all trying, they're all vying for the top spot, and they will do whatever it takes to get there.
No, absolutely. No, so many people have, like, there's an avenue, like you said, I think there is a strong avenue to the end for everyone. It just depends on who's going to cooperate with who, how these challenges fall out, and ultimately how the ultimate jurors feel. Because, like, I know we're talking about how powerful, like, Ross has been in the game, but if Kim's up there with him, the Kim style game has won.
True.
Absolutely.
So, like, I don't know. It's an open season, and it stays that way through day 2. No spoilers. But yeah, that's the recap. Do we have any final thoughts before we go?
No.
Cool deal. Who's up next?
Who's out next?
Who's 9th?
Who's out next? Anthony.
I don't know. Yes, I see that. I'm gonna go with Seth. I really will. I think
Whoa.
there was enough people that were on the Seth train this last round, and
Ooh,
Ava
you're right.
just kind of like put a target on herself and like really flipped everybody to get herself out. I think that they'll just be like, you know what? We were going after him last round. If he doesn't win power, easy out. First round of the day. Chop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Solid.
And I think that's who Ross wants out next too. And whatever Ross says goes.
Iconic. All right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to all the viewers who stayed through this 2-hour recap. Wow. I thought it would be one, but hey, there's just so much material.
So much
but yeah, thank y'all so much. Hopefully we'll have a finale pod or another reunion. Ooh. But yeah, thank you for watching the Greenhouse Season 4. Day 2 is just as iconic as Day 1, and there's a lot coming our way. So see y'all on the other side. Oh, thank you, Valencia. Well worth it. Thanks for sticking with us. Oh, yes. And also, if you are just catching up with the Greenhouse and you want to quickly get up to date, we have recap episodes that pretty much explain what happens in 20 minutes or so. I think they're good, but who knows? All right, everybody, have a good day.
Yay.